Hi, good evening. This is Meredith Lego, and I'm doing a series of videos on Ascension science. And a lot of the content that I am sharing is coming through channel teachings, basically, that I'm able to get from extra dimensional beings who I can connect with telepathically. This particular session is going to touch upon different types of experiences that we might have as a consciousness being going through evolutions as part of, let's say, a sort of oversoul group or a collective consciousness group. And so the question that I originally asked is that the Pleiadians, who obviously, Pleiadians is a very large constellation, very large star system, and there's very many species within that particular group, but they essentially suggest that each dimension is connected to different extra dimensional star clusters or species. So in other words, as we sort of evolve and maybe incarnate into different type species, we essentially, again, because we're in a holographic construct, almost a bit of a simulation or a learning lab, we could be learning different lessons or different plans. And essentially, kind of like a video game, you might find yourself moving up levels based upon mastery of a certain level that was below it. And so I'm essentially asking, are these sort of dimensions, if you will, are they sort of program settings, if you will, in a simulation similar to lessons or plans? Or are these extra dimensional beings that we might be, let's say, incarnating to at different points in our soul's evolution? Are they just operating or evolving in those dimensions at this time? It's kind of a complex question, but you'll see how the answer plays out. And so the answer is a bit of both. That's what this particular group who is providing the answer, and this comes from, essentially, it's a council of nine, or collective consciousness, essentially. But they said it's a bit of both. For you see species of all types in your multiverse ascend through dimensions and densities just as humans do. Some species or other planets will have aspects of their species operating in third dimension consciousness, fifth dimension consciousness, and seventh dimension consciousness. Humanity has beings in multi-dimensions and densities as well. And so just to pause there, obviously humans themselves are sort of operating at different frequency octaves. And, obviously within the planet, in terms of, what most of us can visibly see, it's more of the kind of first harmonic universe, or first kind of first through third density layers, where we see like the telluric realm of the planet. We see plants and animals. We see the human species. Obviously we see some frequencies of light, but not all of them. But there's obviously other beings on our planets that are playing out at different densities and different dimensions that we don't necessarily have sort of the ability within our physical DNA to necessarily sense with our physical eyes. And that's where the clairvoyant senses start to come in. So again, as you're accreting more light into your DNA, it allows you to activate certain aspects within your DNA in order to sort of tune into or turn on extrasensory perceptions that allow you to have different sight within your inner vision and be able to hear different frequencies than, let's say, the normal human hearing ranges. I mean, dogs are already there, right? So that's essentially where we go. So that's what they're saying, is that, yes, you've got species on other planets that are sort of operating in all these ranges. Same thing on the planet that you're on as well. Then they essentially say that certain species serve as archetypes for the vibrational characteristics held in certain dimensions. The fourth dimension is primarily the energy of the Draco. This is controlling, strong, loyalty, patriarchal. The fifth dimension is associated with the Pleiadian energy of love in the upper heart chakra. The sixth dimension is associated with the Syrian energy of structures. And by the term structure, it's sort of organizing structures like processes, maybe systems, government systems. So, kind of think about like organizational structures to help run society, as well as architectural structures. The seventh dimension is associated with Andromedan energies for systems. The eighth dimension is associated with the Arcturian spirituality, and the ninth dimension with union and completion. Aspects of your soul have parallel versions of you experiencing these dimensions as these species. So for example, you are a Pleiadian, you are an Arcturian, you are a Draco. You experience these programs to have another experience or archetype or perspective. It's only through the approach that you as a fractal of all that is grows and evolves. Also, by experiencing all archetypes, you are more able to feel connected to all that is. Then I ask the question, well, as a human soul, if you will, or as a human, consciousness unit or human fractal, am I being influenced by energies of those frequencies, or have I been those souls or those different archetypes that they had just referenced? And then they answer, it's a bit of both again. So certainly you are influenced by the energies of Draco and Anunnaki on your planet in your holographic illusion. The Draco and Anunnaki frequencies are master manipulators of your energy bodies, your frequencies, in order to control you and feed on your planet. You are their food source, so to speak, providing their energy. But as this is a holographic universal matrix, you are in a simulation to learn to break free of programming and take back control of your free will, sovereignty, and to stand in your power. This is why most of humanity is working to master their third and fifth chakras. Pleiadian energy is associated with the fourth chakra and the higher heart center. Your planet is now being influenced by the Pleiadian energies. Their vibrational frequencies are working with many humans through the heart center and sending love while holding space for compassion. As beings evolve into fourth density / fifth dimension, you will choose to incarnate as Pleiadian, which means they experience the programming associated with challenging or learning and challenges in sort of a 5-dimensional simulation. This continues with other density experiences. All the while, the species you are now as a Terran human evolves in consciousness, dimensions, and densities. So that last statement is, to me, is essentially stating like you've got different sort of aspects of your consciousness that you may not be aware of, but it's different aspects possibly of the oversoul in which you're experiencing, incarnations or stations of identity as that, as these different types of archetypes or beings, on different planets. Right now, your consciousness is tuned in to the experience as a human being. And that's where, so when you say I'm incarnated now, that's where your consciousness is tuned into now. But you also, have other, again, because there really is no time, you have other aspects of your oversoul or your consciousness that is playing out in these other type of species and other archetypes. And at some point, your consciousness will actively tune into that. It's almost like being in almost inside of a sphere. And inside of that sphere, there might be hundreds, thousands, excuse me, of TVs going on, or screens that are showing different aspects of different lives, different archetypes, different species that your consciousness will experience. Only right now you're staring at the one, you're tuned into the one that happens to be a human life. But these other ones that are, screens all around you inside of the sphere are other lives and other experiences that are going on. So that's essentially what they're saying. So even if your consciousness was then going to tune into a life, let's say as, a being in the Andromedan galaxy or something like that, you're still, and let's say that's, at some point in the future, at the same time, your human life is kind of still going on, playing out. So that's essentially what they're saying. And I understand how this happens because there's been experiences when I've been meditating where I'm getting the ability to see more lives that my consciousness or my oversoul group, or it could be the monadic group, but some fractal part of the consciousness that I'm a part of, which is frankly all of us, I'm tuning into that life and I'm seeing it and witnessing it. And in fact, last night when I was meditating, I saw, I think it was like 5 different lives. One was, I really don't know what it was, but whatever it was, it definitely wasn't human. It was on some sort of a spaceship. Another one was in the past, in Renaissance Italy type period, and that was actually energy that I was trying to heal some blocked emotion, but that was some life that I had. So the point being, and then I've also very much tuned into another non-human life several times, where I've found myself very much in the body, sort of experiencing that life. So that's kind of that's how it happens, really. So again, this is being done so that we have the ability to learn the archetypes and sort of the personalities and the the different attributes that sort of tend to go on with those beings. And by doing that, we have a more complete picture of all the different aspects of sort of consciousness, and can grow to love and appreciate all those aspects. So that, like we've experienced it, we know what it's like to be in those shoes, and then you're more you have a greater ability to hold love and compassion because you've been in those shoes, and less likelihood to sort of judge. So that is the message that I wanted to share this evening. And hope that adds to your learning library. And if you're new to this channel and this content resonates with you, I would encourage you to subscribe, because these are the types of messages that I essentially post on sort of the evolution or ascension, ascending of our consciousness and how that happens. So with that, I love everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks. Bye.